Satoru Gojo isn't just the strongest character in Jujutsu Kaisen. He's something much more unsettling. He's what happens when a human being reaches a point where nothing can touch them. No fear, no real opposition, no consequences that actually matter. And at first glance, that sounds like freedom. But it's not. Because when a person becomes untouchable, they don't just gain power, they start to lose something far more important. Most people look at Gojo and see confidence. He's relaxed in every situation. He jokes in the middle of danger. He carries himself like nothing in the world can shake him. And people admire that, because it looks like the ultimate form of self-belief. But that's not what this is. Real confidence is built through friction, through failure, through moments where you're forced to question yourself and grow. Gojo doesn't experience that. There is no real resistance in his world, no equal force pushing back against him. So what looks like confidence is actually something else entirely. It's the absence of pressure, and when a person lives without pressure for too long, they don't become stronger, they become distant. There's a psychological shift that happens when no one can challenge you. At first, it feels like control. You dictate outcomes. You decide how situations play out. Nothing surprises you. But slowly, that control turns into separation. Because connection requires equality. It requires vulnerability. It requires the possibility that someone else can affect you. Gojo doesn't have that. No one can truly reach him physically or emotionally. And over time, that creates a silent barrier between him and everyone else. He's present, but not connected. Involved, not invested in the same way. That's why his personality feels almost contradictory. He's playful, but distant, charismatic, but isolated, engaged, but detached. And that contradiction isn't accidental. It's the natural result of being untouchable. Think about the Jogo fight. That Jogo is a special grade curse, one of the most powerful in existence. A creature that has killed grade 1 sorcerers, the best in the world, like they were nothing. And Gojo, he's smiling. Not a nervous smile, not bravado, genuinely entertained. He spends half the fight explaining what he's doing to Jogo, narrating his own techniques, like a teacher walking a student through an easy problem. That's not confidence in the way most people mean it. That's something colder. When nothing can truly threaten you. Serious situations stop feeling serious. They lose weight. Stakes aren't the same for him as they are for everyone else in that room. So he jokes, he teases, he smiles at the wrong moments, and people call it charisma. But here's what they're actually responding to. Someone who doesn't react the way a normal person would. Someone who seems unaffected, untouchable emotionally, not just physically. We're drawn to that. Humans always are. But what looks like emotional strength, that ease, that lightness, is actually emotional distance. Gojo isn't above fear because he's processed it. He's above it because the world genuinely can't reach him anymore. Charisma built on detachment isn't freedom. It's a very elegant form of isolation. When a person is never challenged, they stop seeing themselves as equal to others. Not always consciously, but gradually. They begin to think differently. I'm the only one who can handle this. I'm the only one capable of making the right decisions. And this is where power becomes dangerous. Because the moment someone stops being questioned, they also stop questioning themselves. Gojo operates in a space where his judgment is rarely challenged. And because of that, he carries a quiet authority that goes beyond strength. It's not just that he can change things. It's that he believes he should, and that belief is the foundation of a God complex. Not loud arrogance, Not obvious ego, but a quiet certainty that his perspective stands above everyone else's. Gojo doesn't control people through fear. He doesn't need to. Instead, he controls the environment. The tone of conversations, the emotional energy in the room, the way others react to him, he stays calm, which forces everyone else to adjust. He jokes, which disrupts tension. He acts unpredictably, which keeps people off balance. And that's a different kind of power. Because true dominance isn't loud. It's subtle. It's the ability to shape situations without anyone realizing they're being shaped. And Gojo does this effortlessly. Not because he learned it, but because his position allows it. There's one person in the entire series who truly stood beside Gojo. Not beneath him. Not in awe of him. Beside him, Shiguru Geto. Two kids who were told they'd change the world. And for a while, they actually believed it together. Geto was the only person who matched Gojo's pace, not in raw power, but in understanding. He knew what it meant to carry something no one else could carry. And then Geto broke, and Gojo was left alone. Think about what that moment actually means. The one person who understood him gone, not dead in battle, gone in a way that made Gojo have to be the one to end it. That's not just loss. That's the cost of being what he is, made visible. Because here's the thing about being untouchable. The higher you exist, the smaller the group of people who can reach you. And eventually, that group becomes one person. And when you lose that one person, the gap doesn't close. It becomes permanent. Gojo keeps moving. He smiles, he teaches, he jokes, he does everything right. But watch his eyes in the quiet moments. That's not independence. That's what permanent distance looks like when it's learned to look like strength. And this is where it goes beyond Gojo. Because this pattern doesn't just exist in anime. It exists anywhere. Power becomes absolute. When someone rises high enough above others, whether through intelligence, status, or ability the same, things starts to happen. They become harder to relate to, harder to challenge, harder to reach, and over time, they stop being part of the group. They become something separate from it. And the more untouchable they become, the more disconnected they feel. Gojo isn't just the strongest character. He's a psychological example of what happens when a person has no limits, no equals, and no resistance. Because power doesn't just change what you can do. It changes how you see the world. And eventually, it changes who you are.